You know, I wish people knew that there are some things that are never going to manifest in your life unless you pray. You know, there are things in your life that will never manifest unless you take your time to pray. You know, each and every great person in the Bible understood one thing: they prayed. The Bible said Elijah was a man like you, but it then goes further saying Elijah prayed. Jesus, the Son of God, who is the Word himself, the Bible says, and the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Imagine Jesus, who was there before the foundations of the earth, when he came to earth, he prayed. Each and every great person, great man, from Adam, from Enoch, from Abraham, from Joseph, David, to Jesus, Apostle Paul, these people, they prayed. That's why they were able to carry the presence of God. That's why they were able to walk with power and authority. That's why they were able to usher men into the presence of Abba. You know, I wish people knew that prayer is not only speaking or talking with or to God. Prayer is not only speaking with God. You know, we were taught by many people that prayer is only speaking to God. Yes, that's 1000% true. But I want you to understand that there is something more that prayer does in your life. In the book of Genesis chapter number 1 verse 1, it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and earth. If you read further, there is a time when God created Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The presence of God was so intense in the Garden of Eden to a point that Adam could not see his nakedness. The presence of God was so solid to the point that Adam and Eve were so blind to their nakedness. They were so spiritual to the extent that they were so blind to their nakedness until a serpent came and deceived Adam and Eve. The moment they decided to disobey God, the moment Adam and Eve decided to disobey God, that's when the glory, the presence of God shifted from them. That's why they were able to say, oh, I'm naked. If you read the Bible carefully, in the book of Genesis chapter number 4 verse 26, it tells me that Seth was born. Meanwhile, people began to call the name of God. People began to call the name of God. The moment Adam and Eve were out of Garden of Eden, they began to pray. They began to call the presence of God again. The name of God is not a noun. It is far much different from our names. Why? Because the name of God describes the authority, the rank, the glory, the character, the everything of God. So they were now calling the name of God. How? Through prayer and worship. So I want you to keep this in mind. Prayer is a channel to move. It's a channel into the presence of Abba, into the presence of God. Prayer is a channel into the presence, not only into, but it is a channel that makes you move, that makes you grow in the presence of God. If you meet a person who does not pray, that person does not have the presence of God. That person is not living in the presence of God. Why? The only channel that makes you live in the presence of God is prayer. So I want you to understand that prayer is not only speaking to God, it is also experiencing, encountering the presence of God. Number 2, prayer makes you a man of authority and man of power. There are so many preachers that preach power and authority, but they forget this part, the part of prayer. Prayer makes you the man of authority. The authority of Jesus is stirred up in prayer. Well, thank you.